Hey everyone, Roy Shepard here. If our society would collapse, what form of government would best suit for our survival society? Socialism or capitalism, or somewhere in between? The following video is my personal opinion that I devised over many years of research, debate, and personal experience. First, let's define the differences, the core differences between socialism and capitalism. The first difference is capitalism believes in smaller governments and socialism believes in larger governments. Capitalists believe that the government should provide only municipal services and security like military and police. Socialism, on the other hand, believes in larger government, that the government controls everything for the people, including security and municipal services, but also welfare, healthcare, and businesses. The socialist government decides everything for the people. For example, there is no freedom to choose your own profession. So you'll be assigned work as something that the government deems necessary, like a farmer, factory worker, a miner, and so on. No more yoga instructors, for example, and only people with the right connections are able to work in fields like the entertainment industry, which only shows government propaganda anyway, with no creative freedom whatsoever. The second major difference between socialism and capitalism is capitalism believes in hierarchy of competence and socialism believes in no hierarchies at all. In capitalism, everyone starts from the same point. They incentivize competence by giving bonuses, prosperity, and better rewards overall. On the other hand, socialism believes that everyone should be equal no matter what, and everyone is capable of everything at all times. This means that everyone can do any job, no matter how competent or skilled they are at that job. Capitalism believes that every person is unique. Everyone has their strengths and their weaknesses. The diversity of opinion makes the society prosperous. On the other hand, socialism believes that everyone should think the same. Everyone should believe the same ideology. They promote diversity, but what they mean is diversity of origins rather than diversity of opinions. In socialism, in effect, every person is a promoter and a propaganda machine for the ideology. The fourth major difference between capitalism and socialism is capitalism is based on consumerism, whereas socialism is based on governmental purchases. In capitalism, every person votes for what gets manufactured with their wallets. They basically buy whatever they want and not buy whatever they don't want. In effect, businesses spend a lot of time and a lot of money to research what the market wants, and thus creating better competition, better quality, and lower prices to appease the masses. On the other hand, in socialism, they believe that a very minute elite group in the government decides everything for everyone, which causes a little bit of a problem, since usually these people, because of their connection to all the suppliers, and since they get a lot of bribes, they have everything. But since they make all the decisions and don't really care about what the people get, this usually ends up in the people lacking basic necessities, from milk and toilet paper to basic health needs. All these differences cumulate together into the fifth core difference between socialism and capitalism. In capitalism, they believe in equal opportunity. Everyone have the same opportunity to create great things, to create products and give services that other people may enjoy and voluntarily decide to purchase. On the other hand, socialism, even though they also believe in equal opportunity, they push equality of outcome, which means no matter what everyone does, they should get paid and compensated the same. In the eyes of the socialism, everyone is equal no matter what. In other words, in capitalism, you are responsible for your actions, and in socialism, the government is responsible for your actions. Many people nowadays, from students in universities to socialist professors and left-wing politicians, say that socialism is the way to go. And indeed, the ideas of socialism is very appealing, since it feels like a utopia. Everyone does what they can and they take what they need, which sounds fantastic. But every time in the last century where these practices were put into the test, it turned into everyone does as little as they can and take as much as they can carry. Every socialist country have failed. The rich and capable would either flee or were killed when they took and seized their property. And the people who are left, the uneducated poor, did not have the skills or know-how how to farm the lands and produce food or produce any other product for that matter. The state has failed, the economy collapsed. The regime turned into a totalitarian society, and the tyrant was dictating whatever everyone should think, feel, and do. Whoever disobeyed was kidnapped and thrown into re-education centers to either become obedient or die in the process. Every time a new socialist leader have emerged, they said that it wasn't really socialism in the failed states, but ended up being exactly the same, because the system itself is not sustainable. A small elite group of people in the government decide everything for everyone, which means they lived in prosperity while everyone else lived in poverty, in sickness and starvation. When that happens, when people have nothing else to lose, a revolution is imminent. Some examples of this happened in Stalin Communist Soviet Union, Mao's People's Republic of China, in Cambodia, in Zimbabwe, now in Maduro's Venezuela, and in South Africa. Every time they rationalized the deaths of untold millions of people so the regime would prosper. And eventually they drove the country into a failed state. Even the English settlers in the United States, when they came here, they lived in kind of socialist settlements. It was called mercantilism, where they all lived as a social group, having a central grain deposits, and everyone would work as much as they could and take as much as they needed. Very fast, these settlements almost destroyed themselves with famine and sickness. All the grains ran out until John Smith, he got famous from Pocahontas. He was the founder of Jamestown and responsible for the Virginia colonies, and he abolished the socialism and started capitalism. He gave every person their own plot of land and decreed that he who shall not work shall not eat. And by doing that, saved the settlements from devastation. The only way that capitalism works is if someone produces something or a service and someone else pays for it voluntarily. In other words, it only works if two parties that benefit from the transaction. This promotes everyone to be productive and efficient rather than being lazy and entitled. If we look at modern society over the last century, we see that quality of life have risen across the board for all economic brackets. We see the poor are no longer starving. We see the middle class getting wealthier. Furthermore, the technology has become better for businesses to produce higher quality goods and more effectively, raising the quality of life for the entire human race even further. Most survivor communities will probably start as socialist communities because it's a much more appealing idea. It's kind of a utopia where everyone is working together toward a common goal. The problem is that in most of these societies will require a very, very strong leader. And history have showed that these leaders eventually become tyrants and turn the society into a totalitarian regime. This is not sustainable because as soon as a tyrant takes power, a coup or a revolution is imminent. In my opinion, and according to what I see of human nature, communities will form, but every family in that society will be self-sufficient. They will have all they need for survival. They will grow, hunt, and fish their own food. They will raise their own livestock and make sure that they have all the necessities for survival. With that said, the people in these communities will get together every once in a while to discuss matters that affect all of them. For example, security. They will also discuss creating different types of projects, from solar panels to raising fences, water wheels. At this initial stage, the security will be burdened on everyone together. So if there was a serious threat, they would all band together and protect one another. Once these communities will have all their basic needs met, a free market will start to form and people will start to barter with one another for goods and services. As they grow, they will create villages and later on towns. Once there are enough people in the community, businesses will start to emerge. Businesses like a butcher shop, woodworks, leatherworks, metalworks. At this stage, the security will be given to an elected sheriff who will enlist few deputies according to the needs of the town. And eventually the town people would elect a mayor to organize all the town's needs. For example, collecting taxes, security, diplomatic relations with other communities, and so on. And seeing over other municipal needs of the community. To sum up, just like the English US settlers, where the free market society have thrived, formed the strong economic backbone of the country, survivor communities should mimic the success of these early towns and adopt capitalistic ways. Any socialist experiment will be short-lived and end up in a coup, resulting in yet another collapse. We should all learn from history and build long-lasting, thriving communities. Maintaining the voluntary win-win contracts between every member in the community is the key ingredient for our survival. So what type of government do you think we should use after the collapse? Socialist or capitalist? Please share your thoughts. I love getting feedback from you and I read each and every one of your messages. If you'd like to know more about how to prepare, pick up our book, Prepared: The 8 Secret Skills of an Ex-IDF Special Forces Operator that will keep you safe, for free, and start your journey to self-reliance right now. If you like this video, like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends, and support us on Patreon so we can create a lot more great content just like this. And until next time, stay safe.